That's my writing advice for people, is you should just find Chandler. Or maybe a Chandler-esque figure in your life. But a Chandler-esque figure could just be someone who helps. This will help enumerate the many different things he does. Helps you like find your things. Helps you like organize time. Helps you understand technical things because you're old. I'm assuming a lot about you. Are you blonde, 5'10", have a bevy of regrets, a gaggle of past mistakes, a cavalcade of remorse? Okay, I'm making my inner life sound horrible. A circus fairground of past wonderful memories. Well then, you are average Joe and you are in the right place. Bit busty, I know. A little top heavy, I get it. Are your feet too small for your body? Is the left one literally deformed? I know, it's okay. Don't hide. Okay, my left foot is deformed, but I feel like that makes me sound like I have something much more wrong with me. And what I'm worried about is not people on the internet thinking I have like a club foot. I'm worried about as a very able appearing and functionally able person saying I have a deformity. But it is, that's what the doctors have told me many times. It's a varus deformity of the foot. My arches are super high. My feet look like Barbie's feet. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie yet. I know.
I haven't either, don't worry.
It's so sad. I want to see it so badly. I've heard such good things. I've heard critiques. I love Greta Gerwig. But back to my feet. Barbie is not structurally sound, okay? She cannot stand on her own without high heels. High heels, I don't know. If you are average Joe, you would not know that. Oh,
you just frowned. Sorry.
If you were average Joe, you might not know that. Well, bras hurt for one, but two, high heels are incredibly bad for you. Even if your feet are made like Barbie, they're still just gonna truck up the rest of your body. Oh, so I'm realizing this affects my lip gloss. Oh my God.
Indeed.
So does sipping from things without a straw, like,
Yes.
God,
It does.
being a
In all honesty,
gigantic star who works at home in her studio/shed is incredibly challenging. Hi, welcome to Gathering Paradise. My name is Jenny O'Neill, and I am so happy you can be with us today. Today we will look at the poem My Papa's Waltz by Theodore Roethke. Now, this is a poem that is taught in schools and colleges. So you might not have ever heard it and gone to schools in America, but it is often anthologized, and it's an older poem, so you might be familiar with itself. It has a rhyme scheme that mimics what the poem is referring to. So it's called My Papa's Waltz. So a waltz, a dance, that sort of square and beat time, right? So it's from the point of view of the child, the son. So here we go. But notice how the rhyme, the sort of beauty of the rhyme and playfulness that rhyme can give us, a sense of joy and fun, a bubbly champagne feeling that rhyme not always, but often induces, how that is sharply juxtaposed with what the author is saying and explaining, what this character in this poem is going through, right? So they're describing their dad's dance. The whiskey on your breath could make a small boy dizzy, but I hung on like death. Such waltzing was not easy. We romped until the pans slid from the kitchen shelf. My mother's countenance could not unfrown itself. The hand that held my wrist was battered on one knuckle, And every step you missed, my right ear scraped a buckle. You beat time on my head with a poem caked hard by dirt. Then waltzed me off to bed, still clinging to your shirt. Oh, I love that poem. I don't know if you can see them, internet, but I have the good poem goosebumps. Is it a good work of art? Is Jenny shivering and having goosebumps? Then yes. This poem to me is such a beautiful rendering of what it's like to grow up with any kind of parental figure who is chemically dysregulated. So it could be whiskey, it could be other types of drugs. It doesn't have to be an alcoholic parent, but where you have to learn very young as a child to read the room, read your parent who might be drunk or high or crashing from a substance, and your other parent who is reacting to this, and you're trying to just not mess up this dance, not mess up this pretty routine, right? The way it's supposed to go. Just keep it going. Just stay with the flow. Just don't let anything bother you. And how much strained love there is in this poem, even though it is clearly an indictment on the character's father. My papa's waltz. The whiskey on your breath. Every step you missed, it would make my right ear hit your belt buckle. He's so drunk, he's waltzing this boy around, but it's not to the point of physical abuse, but he is hurting the boy. Like, the boy is banging into him because he's drunk and swinging the kid around. So, but the child, I think that, and there are lots of psychologists who say the same thing from way, way back. So I'm not like breaking new ground here. But I think that no matter how old you are sometimes, and no matter what they've done, the child always wants redemption for the parent and then healthy connection with the parent. Sometimes we even want connection with a parent when it's unhealthy. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's they always say you should give your children unconditional love, but what the reality is that children love their parents unconditionally, especially when they're young. You can beat them and then the child will come back and say, "Yes, daddy, yes, mommy, I'll do it better next time." The parents are not loving their children unconditionally, but the children are ready for whatever. If daddy just come back, dad'll be home soon. Mom will be back. Mom won't be gone long this time. Things like that, right? So we're put in the place of this little boy who's getting dizzy and who's getting hit into things. Obviously, the dance is so wild and raucous and uncoordinated. They have made pans slide from a shelf. Like, he's literally, the author is calling it, we're romping around like it's play. But they're literally doing things that are disrupting things, objects around them. His dance is so wild and drunken, right? So he might have hit the shelf, things go flying. And then the mom is there thinking about how she's going to clean all this up in every sense of the word, probably. So the dance, so the dad is totally drunk. And the boy, though, is hanging on. He's not running away. He is hanging on. And Roethke is pointing to how maybe sorrowful and maybe inevitable this hanging and reaching for connection is. with his simile, with the thing he compares it to. I hung on like death. So I didn't hang on like a kite, something like that. I hung on like death. Death hangs on us. We will all go that way one day. And in the first stanza, our last line is, such waltzing was not easy. It wasn't a fun dance. It wasn't a fun game. It wasn't a fun good night bedtime routine. It was scary, and it was disruptive and chaotic. I think the love and understanding for the Papa here comes out in the second two of the four stanzas. He's describing his father's hands. So the hand that held my wrist that he's helping dance with, it's battered on one knuckle. From this, we could think that perhaps the father had to fight. Perhaps the father is likely, very likely, the father is doing something that is manual labor. Very likely. So this might be from fisticuffs, but it might be because his job always involves doing things with his hand. So, but the fact that it's battered on one knuckle, he's not saying calloused. To me, it sounds like the father got threw a punch. But we know from later that the dad does not have a white collar job. His work is literally dirty. So the hand that held my wrist was battered on one knuckle, and every time the dad couldn't make it, messed up the step, the kid's right ear is getting hit on his belt buckle, and it's scraping. So that's how much he's swinging his kid around. And then here, you beat time. So the word choice there's no actual physical, domestic violence that is explicitly shown here, right? It's not like the wrist that has the battered knuckle is because there's not a line that's like, from when you hit my mother. Nothing like that, right? But he does choose the word beat. Of course, it's a pun. It's a beautiful, beautiful, gut-wrenching pun because you're beating time to a dance. And the waltz is just a very steady beat. So this man has the thing, has his son, jerking him around, and the papa, the dad, the drunk dad thinks he's just having a blast. It's a great old time, but he's hurting his kid and those around him. So you beat time on my head with a palm caked hard by dirt. So we know that whatever this dad's work is, he comes home and his hands are usually dirty. And then in this last line, then waltzed me off to bed, still clinging to your shirt. So there's this impulse from the drunk father. He wants to bond with his son. He wants to pick him up and swing him around in a way that's fun, in a way that sober parents do. But he can't control his own life, right? But the boy at the end is clinging to his shirt, and the dad is putting the boy to bed. In that analysis, you see so much in the details. I mean, literally, we'll attach the words in the info. This is 4 meager stanzas. It's not long. So the fact that he's getting across, not just that his dad is an alcoholic, not just that his mother is upset with it, not just the ritual of a dance that's supposed to be fun, being actually scary and maybe physically harmful, but we have this stuff about the dad's hands. So these instruments of possible violence or recklessness, maybe they are that way, at least partially so, because his life is so incredibly hard. Maybe he's medicating because he has a dead-end job where his body hurts, he's working in the dirt, and he has no way to release this. I think by including these details, there is this still sense of love or perspective on the father. He's not like a demon, you held my wrist, you know? He could go a lot harsher. And, you know, the nuance and the complicated flickering associations and feelings you get with this poem are all part of what makes it so beautiful.